So we have kind of a dough forming now. I've been running this for a little while. We turned off the video so that you wouldn't have to just watch that. But it's pretty much ready to go. And I did something that I don't usually do, which is, I realized this, I added the flaxseed when I added the olive oil. Usually what I do is I add the olive oil and the salt and any other flavorings that I want to add in. If I had used onion, I would have, raw onion, I would have put that in when I did the cauliflower and the parsnip. If I used the onion powder, I would have put that in when I did the salt and the olive oil. Generally, I'll let the olive oil really mix in there. I'll run it with the olive oil, and then I put the flaxseed in, and then run it with the flaxseed, because the flaxseed is absorbent. That's what helps us make it spreadable. It doesn't really matter, but I wanted to mention that. So we're ready to put it on dehydrator sheets. So I'm going to come over and just grab these dehydrator sheets. Okay. And I am using the Excalibur dehydrator. That's what I have. That's what I love. Recommend it. So this is, for those of you that may not know, this is the dehydrator sheet, and then I have this. These, you can order these. These are what they call the Teflex sheets. They're great for making breads and having a solid surface to dehydrate on. So I'm going to scoop it out, and you can see it's like a dough. So we've really made this dough, which is, I think, pretty cool. And I'll do about half the batter per sheet. I don't make them really, really artistically pretty, and you could make nice little flatbread looking thing. I just basically spread this out on the dehydrator sheet. And the one trick, I'll move this. The one trick is that you want to get it fairly the same thickness for what you spread out. So you can do it a couple of ways. I will generally just do one big spread on one dehydrator sheet. You could also do separate little rounds or squares, whatever you feel creatively inspired to do. I just tend to do one, and then I break that up once it's dehydrated, and we'll show you how that looks once it's dehydrated. So this is a little bit, I usually have a better tool for this, and right now it's packed. So I'm using my little rubber scraper, my little rubber spatula, which still works, and I kind of just work it, and I'm paying attention to where it might be thinner, and you may not be able to see that on the video, but you'll be able to see it when you're doing it in your kitchen. And I'll keep spreading and spreading and spreading, and it will get to be, I don't measure it, but we're looking for about maybe 1/3 of an inch thick. I just kind of eyeball it, but you're welcome to get out your ruler if you want. It might be more like 1/4 of an inch. I would say between 1/4 and 1/3 of an inch is what I will generally go for. That will give you a good, a solid flatbread. And this bread is delicious. I just made some cultured cashew cheese too, which I also had requests for the recipe, which is very easy. And it's like a cream cheese. It's so good. And one of my favorite things is to do the cultured cashew cheese and pesto or arugula or something like that. Maybe some sun-dried tomatoes. Olives are really good. And I just wrap that up. It's delicious. Just about there. This is probably the most tedious part of the whole process, is getting it all evenly spread out. Because if you go too quickly, well, that's what happens. You get a little hole. So we're just going to cover that hole up. And yeah, we're pretty much there. Now, I don't have a perfectly smooth surface, but for me, it's good enough. I'm not going to be serving this in a professional kitchen. I'm just going to do the same thing with the other one. I had the thought after the fact, I realized I had these leaks, so I'm just going to throw a few leeks on top and watch what happens. I already had these sliced up. I had mentioned the onion, so this will add a little bit of color and texture and flavor, and I'm not going to go too crazy. Probably my second batch I'll just put the leeks in with the first, although they'll turn it green. Just realized that. I'll turn the whole thing green if I pulverize it with the parsnips and the cauliflower. Another thing you can do is like sprinkle paprika on here or get fancy, but it's ready to go into the dehydrator. And here is the dehydrator. And we'll put it in. And then I'll have another one. We're doing a double recipe, so I'll fill the whole guy. I generally turn it on 95 because this particular dehydrator gives you temperature. And I'll turn it on, and it'll stay in there for probably, I just wait until it's dry enough. It's probably about 6 hours that I dehydrate at 95. I wait until it's dry enough where I can peel it off, and we'll have to do another one for that. Just peel it off of the Teflex and flip it over and dehydrate for maybe another hour, not even, and they'll be ready to go. And I'll show you the finished product so you get a view of that. So you can see how I do these. They end up being just these big pieces. This one's already has a bite out of it. So good. And it's pliable. It's a little, it's a little fragile, but it's pliable. I generally like to do like a little, almost like I'll show you. Okay. So this piece here, it's almost like a little tortilla, and you can just put your filling in there and enjoy it like that. And that's it. Thanks for watching.